Welcome to a Besto TV production. If you enjoy our content, please click the subscribe button. To get notifications of new releases, ring that bell. Thank you, and away we go.
Thank you guys for coming. I'm Bryce Papenbrook, if you didn't know. I'll tell you guys how I got into voice acting and kind of got here. When I was about 8 years old, my dad was working on a show called Power Rangers. Yay, Power Rangers! He used to play all the monsters, like a bunch of the monsters, and then Rito Rufolto, the skeleton dude on the show. And at the end of his session, they needed a kid's voice, and my dad's like, "He's a kid, throw him in the booth!" And I became a voice actor. Yay! So I grew up around the industry, and it was really right in the middle of college that my career started picking up. I just happened to book something, and then book something else, and book something else, and I thought, this is really fun. I think I'm not going to go to law school, and I'm going to make funny voices in the booth instead. And I haven't looked back. So I've been really fortunate to book a ton of great roles. You might know me as Eren Yeager in Attack on Titan, Kirito in Sword Art Online, Naegi and Nagito in Danganronpa, Cat Noir in Miraculous Ladybug, and Wikipedia knows the rest. Being Tiz was really, really awesome. I'm a big fan of Square Enix games. I grew up playing Final Fantasy. Like, I started with the original Final Fantasy, and then I played 3, aka 6, all the way through, and then 7. I have Final Fantasy 9 sitting at my house, ready to be played, and I've been saying this for years, but I know if I get into a Final Fantasy game, I will dip off the face of the earth. So I actually voiced Zidane also, who's the lead. Yeah. He's the lead of Final Fantasy IX, and he does not talk in the original Final Fantasy IX, but he does in all the Dissidia series. So Dissidia, which is on all the lanyards, which is so cool. NT just came out, and it's really, really awesome. But the nostalgia of the side-scrolling game is it's really heavy with Bravely Default. It's like, I wish I could take Final Fantasy with me everywhere, and now you can, which is so cool. I hope they make a Bravely 3rd.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's so cool. They left it.
I was really happy with the performance in Bravely 2nd. They actually loosened the reins on us a little bit. Sometimes they want the performance of English to be very true to the Japanese. And in Bravely Default, it was very close to the Japanese performance. In Bravely 2nd, they didn't care about that as much. They're like, you guys know the characters, you guys just have fun with this, which is really great to have that freedom. So I was really happy with the performance in Bravely 2nd. And fingers crossed we get to do it again. I hope I get to work on another Tales game in the future. Yeah, that'd be awesome. You never know. I actually, I filled in for Robbie when he was, so sick that he could not talk. So they're doing these things now called simuldubs. And what happens is, every week a new episode of a show comes out. So Funimation had Tales of Zestria, and Robbie, who plays the main character, could not talk. He got so sick that he couldn't perform, but the show must go on. So they reached out to me and they're like, "You've been in Tales before, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "You want to fill in for Robbie?" I'm like, "Okay." So it was like Asbel Lance guest starring in Tales of Zestria for 4 random episodes. But then Robbie came back and dubbed over my work, so it's him. But for a short period of time, I was in another Tales project. But hopefully it happens again. The director of that game is Wendy Lee, who is one of the nicest, sweetest people in the world. So it's just amazing getting to work with her on a consistent basis. I had 3,600 lines as Asbel. He talks a lot. I mean, it's a stacked game. So I recorded for about 4 months with her. And we spent 2.5 months recording, then I got married, I went on my honeymoon, and then I came back and recorded more as Asbel. So I just think back to that time in my life and that time in my career, and it's all good memories. So it's really fun to think about working on that game. I've read for all sorts of projects. I live in Los Angeles, but I've now kind of got in the fold with Funimation, so I audition all the time, and for all sorts of companies, from Disney, Nickelodeon, Warner Brothers, everybody, DreamWorks. There's tons of projects I would have loved to have been a part of, but most of the time it doesn't work out. If you book 1 out of 100 auditions, you're doing extremely well. So what I try to do, knowing that, I don't attach myself or fall in love with any particular character until it's like announced and out there in the world. I did get cast in this original show, and we recorded the first episode. They wrote the next 13 episodes. We came back, recorded episode 2. They had a sample of episode 1, which was amazing. We recorded episode 3, and then it disappeared. And it never saw the light of day, and it was such a fun show. So I can't talk about it because it may come back. I'm still like, please come back. So I have to not fall in love with a character until it's like out in the world and very real, because that stuff happens all the time. So when you work for Nintendo, they don't tell you what game you're working on. They use these code names. So I get called into a game, I have no idea what this game is, I have no idea what character I'm playing, and they give me a picture of Henry, and he's wearing this dark coat, and he's holding a crow, and he's smiling. That's all I got. So I get in the booth, and Patrick Seitz, another great voice actor and director, he was directing that day, and he's like, all right, let's come up with a voice for Henry. And he's like, take a look at the script. And the first line was, yay, blood. Yes, yay, blood. So he's like, okay, what do you got? So I just go, yay, blood. And he's like, he's more excited about this. I'm like, oh, okay. Yay, blood. Like 100 times more excited about this. Yay, blood. And that's Henry. He's become, for me, like Evil Elmo. And I think the latest iteration of Henry, because he's in Fire Emblem Heroes, and they released like a Halloween version of him, like he's full-on Evil Elmo. If you guys have seen any of the bloopers that are out there, I love bloopers. I actually do them on purpose to try to get the engineer and the director just to laugh. So there's some really good ones from SAO2. And at Anime Expo a couple years ago, during the SAO panel, they actually played a blooper reel in front of about 2,000 people. So I, on purpose, would say the most disgusting things I could think of, like Urban Dictionary, like words that you'd have to look up, just to get the director to laugh, to get Alex Von David to laugh, and those are the ones they used. So Kirito says some terrible, terrible things. Don't recommend you look it up because someone was out there filming and it's up on YouTube. Go look it up. Do not look it up, especially don't Urban Dictionary what I say. Do it. Really, really bad stuff. Who's seen Durarara? Awesome. Okay, if you haven't, it's another very kind of complicated story. It takes place in Ikebukuro, and there's all these different really interesting characters, and they have all their stories, and they kind of weave into each other by the end of the season, and season 2 does it again with even more characters. So my character's name is Masao Mikita, and he's the ladies' man. I mean, I got to go into work and say things like, live by the boobie, die by the boobie. Like, that's a good day at work. So I have a funny story about one of the words that Masanomi says. So he's walking, and Henri, this girl that's part of the group of 3, is walking right next to them, and he says, "Henri's so boobylicious, so sexy cute." So boobylicious, that wasn't in the translation from the Japanese. It actually was translated to roughly bootylicious, but we were in the booth and we're like, I don't know if she's bootylicious. She's more boobylicious. And I was on a panel with the Japanese actor who plays Mikado. And this is all the Japanese that I know. So I told that story and I asked him after, I'm like, how do I say boobylicious in Japanese? And he's like, oh, boing. You're welcome. You've all learned something today. I worked on, it's called Death Battle, and it's something I believe Rooster Teeth does. And they take 2 characters and they talk about them, and then they fight to the death. So I got to play, I was cast as Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and I thought that was a really interesting casting choice. It was fun and exciting to play that character. It makes me actually want to play Sora. So you never know. I mean, stranger things have happened. Sometimes people get busy and they have to replace voice actors, but it was really cool kind of jumping in that role and stepping into that role even for a second. It was fun. And I'm glad people really liked it. Justin Briner, who plays Pit in that, is the lead of My Hero Academia, or Academia, how do you say it? I don't know. Academia, there we go, thank you. And he's another really talented voice actor, and right as that was coming out, I had just met Justin, we just hung out at a con, and I'm like, oh, we're fighting to the death, sweet. So yeah, he's another great actor, and he sounds amazing in it too. So Danganronpa, it's really fun. So it's all about the first season. I won't go too deep into it. There's this group of super skilled kids that go to this school, and this evil mechanical bear says they have to kill each other and get away with it, or they're all gonna die. Yeah? Yay! So, my character's named Nagi. He's the sort of detective that's solving the murders and figuring it out. And as I was working on the first game, I had no idea who was gonna die next, what the clues were, or how the cases would go. So it was like I was watching a movie in my mind. In the second one, I get to play Nagito, who's insane, and it felt like I was playing the Joker. It was really fun. And in the anime, who's seen all of the anime? Speaking of bloopers, my characters talk to each other at the very end of the series, and I thought, how could I miss this opportunity to sneak a blooper in there? So Nagito reaches out and grabs Nagi's hand, and he goes, his hands are so soft. And then Nagi goes, why was he sticky? So Danganronpa was a simuldub. And a couple days after I did that, they released the episode and immediately released a piece of PR that said, we apologize, a blooper made it into the episode, and we are so sorry. And I was like, no, they caught me. This is bad. And it was someone else's blooper. Mine made it to the Blu-ray! It's canon now. So sometimes it works out really well. There's no going back now, it's in the Blu-ray. Kirito at the beginning of the story versus Kirito in ordinal scale. Well, I think it's really funny to see Kirito act heroic in the real world. Asuna has some really funny lines, how she talks about how Kirito's out of shape. I thought that was great. I think, one thing that's different from the beginning of the story is their relationship has gone so much further. And that's something that I love about Sword Art. The action and the world that they build is incredible, but the love story that they build in this digital world is this true love that comes out of something not real. And I think that's really interesting. And it's incredible that love has carried through the entire story, and who's not seen Ordinal Scale?
No, I haven't.
So I can't spoil it, but I love the love. It's really cool to see the relationship between Kirito and Asuna, and it grow, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen in season 3 with those characters. So who's seen Miraculous Ladybug? Sweet. Okay. For the people who have no idea what that is, it's a French show about superheroes in Paris. I play Adrian, aka Cat Noir, who's supermodel by day and superhero by later in the day.
No, just say night and night. Say night.
Sometimes night. In the Christmas special, Cat in the Night. So it's a really fun show, and it really reminds me of Sailor Moon, because every episode it's another bad guy from the city. They have to go through their transformation. They have to de-evilize them. It's a great show. And in the show there's some interesting shipping. There's a shipping square.
Yes.
Do you want to explain the square? Who has a really good explanation? You're like, I got this.
Okay.
You gotta be loud. Be loud.
Mari Chat, it's Marinette and Chat Noir.
Okay.
We have Ladybug and Adrian.
Okay.
We have Adrianette.
Adrianette. Okay, good.
Oh, God, Lord, that's the fear. And also we have Ladybug and Cat Noir.
Lady Noir. So it's like them inside superhero and them in their regular high school thing, and it's all shipped in a square. But they have no idea that the other is Cat Noir or Ladybug. And
No.
they'll never, they always get so close, but they'll never figure it out. So people ask me all the time, who do you ship in the square? There's no right answer. It's not fair. So I'm a big fan of the entire square. Can't there just be love all around? But I'm sure that those kind of moments will continue. There's been some really good ones in season 2. You Persona fans out there, woohoo! In Persona Q, Theodore comes back. He's a younger version of himself. So I got to take over the role, and it was really cool. There's some interesting pictures of him, wearing a very colorful apron and getting picked on by his sister. So it was super fun playing him. It was I did my best to get as close to Travis Willingham's voice as possible. And if you guys know who Travis is, he's a big dude with a very deep voice, and I sound like I'm in middle school. So it was a challenge for me, but I felt like I played a smaller version of Travis in that, so it was really cool. So who's heard of Twin Star Exorcists? Great, awesome. It's a really, really cool show. At this point, I have the Exorcist market locked down. So I play Reno Kumura, Blue Exorcist, and now, And now Rokuro, one of the Twin Stars. It's a really great show, and we've actually been working on Twin Star for over a year. So I wasn't able to talk about it for a really long time. But it's such a fun show. It's super lighthearted and then super dark, and really, really dark, and then super lighthearted again. So it's fun and comedy and action. I scream a lot. And yeah, I can't wait for people to see it. It's got an amazing cast too. Cassandra Morris plays the other twin star, Benio, and I believe it comes out later this month. So definitely check that out, Twin Star Exorcists. It was really fun playing Rin. I feel like that's the character that I personally relate the most to. Rin when he's happy. Oh, thank you. Like not when he's like demon flames burning people. Like I'm not gonna do that. Don't worry. But when he just like appreciates the little things, he gets like super excited about stuff. Like it's just kind of me. And I don't have to change my voice very much. Like I feel like I jump in the booth and I'm Rin. Actually, when I play other characters, Rin sneaks into the role. So like I recorded all of Blue Exorcist and then immediately got cast as Kirito. And it's with the same director, the same producer. So they're very familiar with my performance as Rin. And I would say a line and to hear the director, they have to hit a button. So Alex would go, "Rin, get out of the booth." And I would try again and I'd get back into Kirito mode. And then a couple lines later, he'd be like, "No, Rin, no." So Rin sneaks in there all the time. But yeah, really, really cool to play him. The movie was like a present, and Kyoto Saga was just so much fun to be a part of. I feel like when I record as a character and I leave the booth, I kind of take a piece of that character with me, and like when I'm done recording as Rin, I just like can't stop smiling. So it's always really, really cool to play that. What makes me most excited about the Kyoto Saga, at the end of season 1, they veered off the manga. So it goes on its kind of own arc. The Kyoto Saga kind of backtracks in time. It like erases that part, and then it starts going with the manga. So that makes me really hopeful that there'll be more. Fingers crossed. My favorite line of Meliodas. Wow, it's one of the dirty ones. Sorry, Mom! I'll keep it as PG-13 as possible. So Meliodas is this 3,000-year-old overpowered pervert. And I say like, he's gotten really good at being perverted. Meliodas is like me, but I have to raise my eyebrows so high that it stretches out my vocal cords. That's Meliodas. So there's a moment where he goes under Elizabeth's skirt, and he says something along. You're like shaking your head, no. He says something along the lines of, "This will make it better." And in Japanese, it was a clear, like he said it in a very clear way. Well, I was like, he's under her skirt, so I did it like this. "This will make it better." And that's the one they used. Yeah. Sorry, Mom. Here's one that's not so perverted. The moment where he sees Bond again for the first time, and he just goes, "Bond!" He's like, "Captain, Bond!" And then they go, "Ha ha 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 ha!" They have a high five. I was at a convention and there was a game room and it was super dark in there, a bunch of people playing video games, and I like to sneak into those if they have Super Smash Brothers for N64. Because I'm good at the 64 version, I'm not good at any of the other versions. I play Pikachu and troll people. So this Bond cosplayer walks in and it's like super dark and I just go, "Bond!" And he was like, "What the?" He just walks in, and then someone came up to him, and they're like, no, that's the voice actor for Meliodas. And he got super excited, and we high-fived. When you're working on anime, you're actually watching the show, and you're talking as your character is talking, and you try to make it not look like Godzilla. So we record in the booth by ourselves. So like Shermie and I hadn't met until after those scenes in the cabin where our characters are literally falling in love. So that just, tip of the hat to Alex Von David for the amazing direction. But since then, we've become really good friends. Actually, Shermie and my wife are really good friends, so they hang out all the time, probably more than I hang out with Shermie. But I've become really close with a lot of the actors from Texas. Attack on Titan was the first job I was cast in out there, and I would actually fly to Dallas, and I stayed there, stayed with Mike McFarland, and then we would drive to the studio every day. Mike listens to metal music, so it'd be like 30 minutes of like, rah, 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 rah. And then I would scream as Eren Yeager for like 8 hours a day, like, rah, 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 rah. So it was really fun. but since then, I've become really close with Trina Nishimura, who plays Mikasa. We're like travel buddies because we've gone to a bunch of conventions together. We actually really got to hang out at this con called Supernova in Australia, and we hadn't really talked that much during the recording process. So we're like, I think we both were like, I hope we like each other. But we really got to know each other on stage and hit it off really well. So Trina and I are travel buddies. But yeah, I've become close with a bunch of the people at Funimation. Also, not sure if you guys know this, I'm the co-founder of an app called Unlocked. And what Unlocked does is it connects actors and voice actors and cosplayers to fans around the world. So I've been reaching out to a lot of the people in the community and becoming a lot closer to them. I love the app also, so it's like I get to keep up with a bunch of the actors that I don't get to see all the time, because you can live stream like behind the scenes and stuff. So yeah, I've actually become closer to a lot of actors because of Unlocked. I highly recommend watching Blood Lad. I think it's on Hulu still.
Yes.
So my character's name is Staz, and he's this vampire mob boss otaku. I think that's the closest I'm gonna get to doing a Kamehameha, because he's literally like, in this battle, he's like, I'm gonna use the move from one of the most powerful fighters in the universe, Kamehameha, and gets kicked in the face. So that show was really fun because day one, the producers came in and they're like, don't even worry about that script. You guys just have fun with this. And we're like, yes. So, almost. He's actually being really good. He's actually being really good. So day one, they're like, don't even worry about the script. So I got a lot of my improvs into the show. Like, there's a moment, it's in that battle, he elbows the guy he's fighting, and the guy just goes like, pew! So right before the elbow, I go, finish him. And it made it into the show. Yes. So that one's really, really fun.
Also the heart constriction.
Oh my gosh. Where he kills Todd Habercorn. Spoiler! So he has this power where he can like reach into someone's like body and just smash their heart. And as he's doing it, he goes, heart constriction, zip! And he goes, yeah, that show's fun. I wish they would make more. That's another one where it's like, we need more.
There's more in the manga.
I know.
It's like they leave the anime off at like a cliffhanger, basically.
It got buried in the Sailor Moon hype.
Yeah.
So you never know, like Blue Exorcist was gone for about 5 years and then it came back, so I'm really hoping that that'll happen with Blood Lad.
Yeah.
There's some funny bloopers in that show too.
Oh no, you did not.
Oh, they're so good. They're on YouTube also. Not as dirty as the SAO ones, but pretty good. They all have different kinds of challenges. I think screaming as Eren and Kirito is like gotta be up there. We would take the last 15 minutes of every session just to scream as Kirito. Because when you listen to Mr. Matsuoka, the Japanese actor, and you hear his screams, like they give you like shivers. And we wanted to capture that same feeling. So we would just scream and scream and scream until we got it, until we landed on one that we were happy with, and it was really tough. In Attack on Titan, I mentioned Mike McFarland. Mike is the voice of Master Roshi. And whenever you're working with, yeah, he's awesome. He plays Jean, that horse face. Whenever you're working with someone that's a part of Dragon Ball, you cannot complain about screaming. And what Mike wanted for Attack on Titan was something gritty and something disgusting. So normally, like when you're recording, you take a sip of water, you kind of like get the spit out of your mouth and all the nasty sounds and the clicks. But for Attack on Titan, we did the exact opposite. Like, he wanted this raw, like, gnarly sound, and I did too. So I was really happy that that's what he wanted. I knew what I was getting myself into. Yeah, it was super intense. And actually, I really did suffer for that role. Like, I don't know if everyone does this, but I try to do the physicality that like my characters do as much as possible. So like, for example, in Blue Exorcist, there's a moment where like this monster is standing on Rin's neck, so I choked myself a little bit. In Attack on Titan, Eren bites his hand. I actually bit my hand so hard that I left a bruise. But it sounds gnarly, like someone's biting their hand and it's hurting. Because I actually did. In season 2, there's this moment where Eren is more unhinged than he ever was. He's super angry, so I literally unhinged my jaw. But it sounds so gnarly. But the problem with doing that is I bit my tongue, and then I was, kind of bleeding. But then Eren was spitting blood, so it just sounded so right for the part. So I've literally suffered for Attack on Titan, but I'm happy to do that. My favorite blooper is Eren. So there's a lot of them. There's a lot of moments where Armin and a lot of the people in Attack on Titan just tell Eren that his idea is bad. Eren has a lot of bad ideas, like, I'm gonna go kill all the Titans now. And then Armin just goes, Eren, no! So I would like say a line as Eren. I'd be like, I'm gonna get them. No, Eren, wait. No! Like, and then a bunch of the cast started pretending to be Armin and giving like Armin bloopers. So those are really fun. There's also a line request, and I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna have to finish with this story. There's a lot of interesting shipping in Attack on Titan. And I was at this convention in Australia, and this girl comes up to me and says, can you say a line for me? And I'm like, of course. And she's like, can you say something as Eren Yeager? I'm like, yeah, what would you like me to say? And she says, can you say Levi looks dead sexy in a miniskirt? So of course, I look her straight in the eye and I say, Levi looks dead sexy in a miniskirt. And the ship is strong. I was at this con in England, and this girl comes up to me with a very interesting piece showing Eren and Levi in a very precarious position. And I asked, should I look inside this? And they're like, don't. So I immediately took a picture of it and texted it to Matthew Mercer. I said, hi from the UK. So I think he enjoyed that, and that ship is very strong. Well, with that, thank you guys so much.
Watch Creative Continuity, Caustoons, Con Rewind, Mr. Lobo Does, and more on this channel.